Welcome to Engfluencer, where we teach you how to improve your English easily yet effectively. English is the key language of communication at most workplaces. There are times when you're not just communicating with your immediate team, but also with members from your global team. Do you find yourself using the same set of phrases over and over again? Are you unable to understand business jargon that your boss or colleague use almost every other day? If that's the case, we think it's time to learn a few important English phrases that you can use at the office. These expressions can be used in different situations, be it in a conversation, during a presentation, on a Zoom call, in a conference, or even when you're writing an official email. Ready to learn? Our lesson for today covers 10 important English phrases that can be used in the office. Let's take a look at the first expression. Touch base. What does this mean? Touch base is just another way to say, let's get in touch. It can be used in conversation or even in a message or an email. Now the phrase touch base means to either renew contact with someone or to connect with someone to discuss any development about a certain project. Here are two ways to use touch base in sentences. Sentence number 1. I'd like an update on the project status. Let's touch base next week. Sentence number 2. I don't have time today, but I'm keen on discussing this idea. Let's touch base soon. In both these sentences, the speaker wants to fix a meeting with the listener, and thus the phrase touch base is appropriate here. Another phrase that you may have commonly heard at work is be on the same page. And that's our second expression for today. Be on the same page. What does this mean? Be on the same page means to agree with someone about a matter. It could also mean to think in the same way as someone else. Let's review two example sentences with the phrase be on the same page. Sentence number 1. Before we sign any documents, let's make sure that everyone in the team is on the same page. Sentence number 2. Now that we are on the same page, let's continue with other matters on the agenda. From these two sentences, we understand that to be on the same page means that everyone concerned with a certain matter or a project has agreed to what the next step should be. Ever heard the expression back to the drawing board? Well, that's our third phrase. Let's take a look at the meaning of the phrase back to the drawing board. The expression means to start a process all over again. Back to the drawing board is usually used when a project or an idea is not working or is rejected. Two example sentences that use the expression back to the drawing board are sentence number 1. The client is not pleased with this idea. It's back to the drawing board. Sentence number 2. Even after 2 hours of brainstorming, we're getting nowhere. Let's meet tomorrow and get back to the drawing board. From these examples, what do we understand when we hear the phrase back to the drawing board? It means to start from scratch or to start at the beginning. Today's fourth phrase is learn the ropes. While it's often used for new members of an organization, it can also be used when someone is new to a specific project. The expression learn the ropes means to understand the basics of a profession, a task, or a project. Here are two example sentences using this phrase. Sentence number 1. Even though Donna is Harvey's newly appointed secretary, it hasn't taken her much time to learn the ropes. Sentence number 2. This software isn't as easy as the earlier one we used, and I think it'll take me some time before I learn the ropes. In both these sentences, the phrase learn the ropes indicates that a person is new to the job or a particular process and will thus take time to get familiar. We're halfway through our list, and here's phrase number 5. Due diligence. Usually used in a legal context, this expression is now a common business phrase. Due diligence is used when a company or a person has carefully reviewed and examined a decision or an idea before either investing in something or making a choice. Let's try and use the phrase due diligence in example sentences. Sentence number 1. We've done our due diligence and there is a high chance we might win this contract. Sentence number 2. There are rumors that Mark has been part of some shady deals. I hope the HR has exercised due diligence before appointing him as the new editor. From the two sentences, we understand that due diligence means exercising caution and doing the necessary research before taking a particular action. The next phrase that is often used in the workplace is get down to business, and that's expression number 6. Now you may have heard this during a meeting after the team has been greeted or even before the discussion of an important topic. The phrase get down to business means to get serious about a particular matter. It can also mean to get started with an important discussion. Check out two example sentences in which we've used the phrase get down to business. Sentence number 1. Now that we've concluded with the introductions, it's time to get down to business. Sentence number 2. I have to wrap up this meeting quickly, so let's get down to business. The sentences show that the phrase get down to business is used to indicate that it is time to get to matters of importance. Moving on to phrase number 7. Think outside the box. The expression think outside the box is used when someone wants you to come up with an idea or ideas that are imaginative rather than traditional or outdated. Let's review two example sentences that use this phrase. Sentence number 1. If we want to make this event a success, we must think outside the box. Sentence number 2. As a team, we need to think outside the box to hit our sales targets this year. In both these sentences, the speakers want the listeners to think outside the box, which means they want them to come up with unique ideas. Next up is the commonly used phrase game plan. Now this expression is as simple as it sounds. It means a plan or a strategy that is needed to achieve success. Check out two example sentences using the phrase game plan. Sentence number 1. We need to develop a game plan to win consumers in this region. Sentence number 2. This is Reggie's last chance to turn things around, and for that, he'll need a strong game plan. The examples show that a game plan is essentially a plan that is created to achieve a certain objective. Have you ever heard the phrase long shot? Well, that's our next expression. What does it mean? Long shot is used when you want to try something even though you know it is less likely that you will succeed. Here's a look at two example sentences using long shot. Sentence number 1. It is a long shot, but there is no harm asking your boss for a raise right now. Sentence number 2. Jeffrey is unsure if his strategy will double our profits, but I think it's a long shot. A long shot means there is a slim chance of success, but sometimes you take a long shot to see if you can get lucky. It's time for our final phrase. Call it a day. Call it a day means to stop what you're doing because you either don't want to do it anymore or you're certain you've done enough. It is commonly used when a working day is officially over or you're done with work for the time being. Let's look at two example sentences in which we've used the phrase call it a day. Sentence number 1. The team is getting too tired right now and it'll be wise to call it a day. Sentence number 2. Ray was certain the business plan would reap no benefits and so he decided to call it a day. Normally, when you're very tired or you do not want to continue what you're doing, you call it a day. Now that you've learnt the ropes, don't forget to make these phrases a part of your game plan. Can you make a few example sentences with the phrases that we've covered today? Don't forget to leave a few in the comments below. Also, use these expressions in business conversation during your work week. If you found this interesting, we'd love for you to like and share this video. Subscribe to our channel as we bring you easy English lessons every week. Also, watch out for part 2 of this video, where we'll cover more phrases that are commonly used at the workplace. Now let's call it a day, shall we? This is Engfluencer signing off.